Join us Monday mornings at 8:45 a.m. and Thursdays 6:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. See you then. Hey, welcome to Awakenings Within. I used an old one, a way back one.
They're pulling it out of the archives.
Oh, brother, I hit it and went, oh, that was the wrong one. It's okay.
That's all right, Sandy. We all love you anyways.
So, who's joined us? I see Marcus already did. Hi, Marcus.
I wonder how many people still remember us.
I don't know.
We've had a bit of a hiatus, or you have anyways. And
yeah, you too.
Well, there's Larry.
There's Larry.
So I was thinking, we used to call you Sandy, because you were a beach girl. But now I think I'm going to call you Sailing Sandy.
Sailing Sandy.
Sailing Sandy,
All right.
Remember this Styx song, Come Sail Away?
Oh, one of my favorites, yeah.
Exactly. I'm sailing away, set an open course for the Virgin Sea, because I've got to be free.
Yeah,
face to face, the life that's ahead of me. I'm let's see, on board, I'm the captain. So climb aboard, we'll search for tomorrow on every shore, and I'll try to carry on.
All right. See, I didn't even know you were going to just read the lyrics to that.
Exactly, because it describes you and your life and your journey, and you're sailing away.
Come sail away.
Exactly. You sailed away to Virginia.
I know.
So I'm feeling a little bit like you're Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, I'm kind of stuck here right now.
Well, remember what happened to Columbus?
Yeah.
He went searching for America and ended up in the Caribbean. So it's kind of like you missed Florida.
I know. Where'd Florida go? I don't know. It's there.
But that's life,
Well, I am here in Virginia. Funny enough, I am related to Christopher Newport, which has founded Christopher Newport stuff over here. So anyway, I am stuck in Virginia presently, though I still am on the way to Florida.
We'll see.
Well, no, it's happening.
Okay. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. As I said to you, I said before you left, I said, remember the heart. And I've been watching your Facebook pages, and I can see exactly where your heart is, and it's about 2 foot tall and blonde hair.
Oh, she's so cute. Oh my God.
Exactly. How can you not want to be around that all the time?
I know. It's going to be hard. So, Hey, who's joined us? Say hi. Hi, Larry. And yeah, vintage start. That was that was our vintage footage.
Okay.
So what's been going on in your world and what's going on in everybody else's world? I want to know. Put it in the comments. But I want to know about you, Bob. What's going on with you?
Well, part of the reason I've had to take a bit of a hiatus is one of our listeners decided to pull me out of retirement and go solve some problems for him. So I have been knee deep in solving problems for his company. So I'm actually quite enjoying it, to be honest with you. I remember, you remember this, John Eldridge, right?
Oh, yeah.
Said all men need a battle to fight.
Yep.
So I sort of had
to save and a heroine to save.
Well, there you go. So I'm sort of in that stage where, to be quite frank, I sort of was wondering if I was past my use-by date, because most of the guys my age are being hustled out the door in the corporate world.
Well, right.
And so I had sort of wondered, yeah, right, let's get a 30-year-old guy we can pay, half the, right? So, I had kind of wondered, God, where am I on this journey of life? And wasn't really sure. And COVID, of course, basically threw all our gyroscopes and compasses into the ocean, because everything just went chaos, And so I've sort of spent a year like everyone else, just trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go. And so this thing kind of opened up, and the next thing I know, I'm knee deep in battles. But I'm enjoying every minute of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I'm really glad. For me too. I for the first time probably in my whole life have I just went, I don't know what my plan is. I have no idea.
Mm.
I'm not the one who's the architect of it. I'm not the one who's the plan maker here. I finally am at a place where I have no idea. And it's
Wow.
awesome. It's refreshing, actually. It's actually nice to not be so much of a control freak on your own destiny, I guess you'd say. So I'm staying in the present, and I'm staying in today, and then whatever curveball is thrown, then I'll catch it, and we'll see.
I do believe I made a post about control a few weeks ago.
I think you did. I know. I've been sharing your posts.
Oh, have you? Yes. Okay. Yeah, because, most people don't really kind of understand the whole control thing.
Yeah. And it's hard to let go. Hi, Amy.
Yeah. There's an emotional side to it, but once you grasp that you don't need to be in control.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of stuff starts happening.
Well, everything keeps falling through for me in Florida. So anything I made a plan about, or I tried to make a plan about, has just been pulled. The rug's been pulled out. And then my son is like, he's gone, and he's like, hey, can you stay in my place? And I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks. So can you stay? And I'm like, yeah. I don't see why not. I have no timeline. I don't have a timeline right now, which is amazing. Good. I love it.
Well, the quote that I quoted was a guy, a pastor out in California, and he said, peace does not come because you finally have control over your life. Peace comes when you no longer need control.
Oh, I know.
That's really the center of the crux of the whole thing, right? That need.
Yes.
So you're not in control and enjoying it
for the first time.
That's wonderful. That's a huge victory.
Yes, and I started writing a book.
So,
yeah, I kind of made a little precept to it today about dancing with the devil. So,
okay. Well, I can honestly
dance with your devils, and when I said dancing with the devil, it could mean anything. And all things, and dancing with the devil could be the spiritual devil, or it could be people. It could be, your bad old habits. I mean, your devils can be addictions. I mean, it shows up in so many different ways. So when I came back here, I kind of revisited, only because I'm here did I start to think about and revisit some of those things, those unhealthy things, and really, focusing on what was going on there. It's not a bad thing, however, it's a bad thing we make a decision to try to fix it. Like, I thought that maybe I could fix it. Yeah. And sometimes it's not wise to go backwards and try to fix something that was already broken and supposedly done.
Well, there's a thing that a perspective you gain as you get older, which is that often in each decade we go back and revisit the same thing. It's like God takes us back through it. So there's this sort of perception when you're young that I have this issue and I am going to fix it. And you think you got it fixed. And then about 10 years later, you're a little older, you have a little different perspective. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm back revisiting it. But it's like a different layer, right? Because it's like peeling an onion. And God keeps taking us back to these places, right? And we always think he's going to take us back there so we can what? Fix it. And he's going, it's about fixing you.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. You know how long it took me? It took me about 20 to 30 minutes to recognize that it was not fixable. I mean, that was way quicker than the process it took me to get into the problem.
Yeah.
But it only took me 30 minutes to get out of the problem.
Right.
Again. And that was what was so amazing, is that it was like, I was able to put up the healthy boundary and go, no, I don't have to do this. No, I don't have to. So there's growth there.
That's huge.
It wasn't like revisiting the same thing and going through the same thing. It was actually
well, one of the things that's really difficult is families. And what I mean by that is when you grow up in a family, right, there's certain patterns that are developed over the course of time. And a lot of it's related to birth order, different things like that, right? And it's funny because you get into these patterns and everybody sort of defaults back to these patterns, right? And that's one of the real areas of growth, because the system, i.e. the family unit, right, will want to herd you back down to this is who you are, like they're telling you who you are, where you fit in, right?
Yes.
And so suddenly there's this conflict going on because you're trying to change the system. Well, you can't. The thing you can only do is get strong inside, right?
Right.
So the thing that I had to learn, I call it the claw, right? But it's the claw. It's whether it's a sibling or a parent that wants to stick their thing in your head and control you, right? And learning how not to let the claw get inside you. So you're like a bull with a ring in your nose getting led back into all these bad patterns, and you know what I mean? And so it's really about learning how to empower yourself. And people suddenly realize, wait a minute, I can't manipulate her like that anymore.
Wow. Right.
Ooh. That doesn't work anymore. Which, from a biblical perspective, just so you know, if people want to kind of drill even further, it's witchcraft. Like when people try to control you, that's a form of witchcraft, right?
Yes.
It's a very real, that's what witches want to do. They want power to control people. Right? Yes. That's what spells, all that's about, controlling others.
Yes.
So you are learning to fight off that control.
Yeah. And well, it's very empowering to take that control back and go, I don't have to do this. I don't have to be in this. I don't even have to listen to this.
Right. I don't have to play by your rules in your game.
Hear you, see you. I don't have to do anything. I can just walk out.
Man, people are sort of like, what? You know what I mean? They're in shock when you suddenly don't play the, you're not in the maze anymore, right? It's like, she's escaped. And they actually will try harder even to get you back in the game, right? And it's just like, I ain't playing your game anymore.
And it's funny. I mean, and we'll talk about the devil, because I brought up the devil. That the enemy out there, he does try to pull you back into those same pitfalls. He thinks that the same strategy is going to work on you. And what's amazing and awesome is that it isn't. Because if you've actually listened to God and you've actually made that growth, you're not going to fall into that same thing. You are going to actually do something different, because hopefully you've learned something at this point.
But the real key though is as you said it earlier. See, we always think we have to change the person or the situation, and it's no. If you empower yourself, right?
Yes.
Right. It's about empowering yourself to take their hook out of you.
Oh yeah.
Right. But people, we somehow takes you a few decades to figure out, wait a minute, it's not about me having control over people and situations, about me having control over me.
Right. And figuring out those places, I had it in my head, the things that would make me happy. Like, I had it in my head. If my life looks like XYZ, my life is going to fall into place and be happy. If I fix these things, if these things have to be made right, maybe those things were patterns in my dysfunctional family that I had recreated and decided, okay, now I got to fix it, because if I fix it here, it will fix the past. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So psychologically, that's what you're always doing. You're always trying to fix those broken places and going backwards. And this time I finally went, wait a minute. I can't fix this, and it's okay, and I don't have to, and I can give up control of that. Then the second thing happened. There were two things that happened, and then I thought, okay, well, this will make me happy if I do or find or fall into this situation. That will make me happy. And then quickly I identified that no, that's not, you know what's making me happy? The only thing that gives you peace is if you're really listening to that inner voice that is guiding you and just giving you peace. You can sit there with it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of do anything. Like I've always thought that being happy was doing something and making something happen. And I finally have this revelation that God is who makes that give me peace and makes me happy.
Well, when you know, especially people that have codependent personalities, being codependent means you're dependent on the other person to tell you who you are. Right. Yep. And you know what? People love telling you who you are.
Oh, yeah.
We're selfish,
and
right?
What you need.
And what you need. And what, no, but what they need from you. You know, I mean, you see this all the time. It's like, you know, it's people don't see other people. They see what they want other people to be to meet their needs. I mean, there's an innate self-centeredness in us, right? And so when you're codependent and you're just so desperately needing affirmation, you know, they're affirming you for all these things that are selfishly motivated on their side of the equation. And after a while, after years, you start realizing, wait a minute, this isn't me though.
Yes.
Right? This is not who I am.
That's
and
right.
Taking you back, right? Well, first you got to figure out who you are because everybody else will tell you that, right?
That's right.
And through trial and error and a lot of failure, you kind of go, wait a minute, I'm not that person. Then it's like that person then needs to get strong, right? So it can resist that need to control, right? So yeah, we can be pleasers to get strokes.
And Lance, thank you for yes, I've been doing some internal inspection. Yes. I mean, at the same time, I'm trying to still be kind of codependent pleaser. Okay.
Kind of.
But at the same time, I put some boundaries up on that. Right. So now I have the healthy boundary along and going through life, trying to figure that out. When you're a codependent, like you brought up a codependent. Yes, I'm a prior codependent. So I was always people pleasing. I never pleased myself. I was always doing it for other people and what I thought that they needed, they wanted, and they wanted me to look like. So right now, you know.
What did you learn about that?
That it was there. It was always.
No, but it's a bottomless pit, isn't it?
Oh my gosh!
Right? It's like you never are enough.
Yeah. And it's so funny, you know, my big, huge friend group, you know, became very, very small, like very, very tiny, you know, like I have, you know, on one hand, you know, my true friends, you know, versus all the acquaintances that I had and I thought were my friends, you know, and it's funny when you stop that pattern, how many people fall away. Because they're not getting anything from you. They want something from you.
And I think you know this, right? I mean, you really have 3 friends, maybe 5. Everybody else is an acquaintance. I mean, we throw the word friend around very, very casually.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is we don't have a lot of friends. Nobody does. Not really.
Well, I mean, I feel like, in each phase of my life, there are people that I could actually say those were my best friends. So I've kind of carried them throughout each stage. So I can actually still say, well, they were my best friend then.
Right. But at any one time, it's just not humanly possible in our souls to actually have more than 3 to 5 friends.
No. And you know, here I am back in Virginia where I have tons of friends.
Acquaintances.
But yet, in the last week, I've been alone. You know, 4 out of 5 days. So, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm starting to understand this loneliness thing. Like I never have ever had that happen. Like that's a new thing. But you know what? Guess who I am? I'm sunshine, sandy, sunset. As long as I have the sunshine in the morning.
So why do you think God wants you to be alone? Because there's a key to this. See, think this through. If you can be content alone, right? In other words, when you're at peace with yourself, you're good with yourself, you know what I mean? You don't need others, right? Then when you interact with others, you're no longer in the vulnerable position, the needy position, the codependent position, right? You're actually relating to people as a peer, as an equal, right. Not as a less than trying to gain their approval.
Right.
You see what I mean? So I think God takes us through those lonely phases. I think he takes us through some of those, teaching us, hey, you don't need everyone else.
Are you okay with this? Like,
yeah.
Are you okay?
Right.
You know, and yes, on one hand, and of course, you know, late at night comes and I'm like, oh, I guess I'll turn on Netflix. I guess I'll Netflix tonight. I don't know.
Right.
That's what that looks like. Now I've, you know, Netflixed a couple of times, but, you know, I feel like he wants me to also, you know, talk with him. So,
right.
You know, he, you know, he wants our time too, you know?
Well, so sometimes God he takes us down the opposite.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute. This is way on the other side of the spectrum from my comfort zone.
Yeah. Lance, you are right. Breaking that codependency is a tough cycle to break. It is.
It very much really is.
But you know, it's nice when you're on the other side of it going, I don't have to do this. Like, I don't have to.
So anyway, here's my analogy.
Okay.
Codependency is like having a gasoline engine. You got to always go to the pump and fill it up. Being healthy is like having a solar power. You don't have to constantly fill it, right? It's you're living off of the sun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm no longer a gas powered human being that constantly needs everybody else's approval to fill my love tank. I'm a solar power guy. I'm a child of the sun. You know?
I like that.
Yeah. So that's where I get my energy now, not from everyone, you know, having to go to the emotional gas tank or gas station.
Right. Well, the difference between you and I, though, is what? Like, I'm an extrovert. Like, I have to have people-y things. Like, I thrive off of it. And it isn't because I have to have that. It's because I like to.
Right. That's like, a difference.
Yes.
It's a subtle difference, but it's actually a very big difference.
Yeah.
I like it versus I need it.
Right. I like having company. I like being around people. I like learning about other people's lives. I mean, that's my favorite thing. My favorite thing is to say, and that's why, I mean, even earlier, like, I'm like, how are you doing? What are you doing? You know, I want to know about you. You know, in fact, I feel like we've already talked about me long enough. So it's time to transition. And now talk about you. Huh?
Oh, no, that wasn't the deal for me coming on. I don't like talking about me.
I know. Okay. So we haven't been on in 2 months.
Right.
2 months. That's a long time of news that we have not covered.
It's been a blur for me.
What's going on out there in the world, people? I don't even know. I mean, I've been watching Netflix, but I have not been watching the news. So there's the difference, because I still am disconnected from the world news, because what's funny is I've made my life kind of walking at lunch. Like, I have a routine now where I walk at lunch. I don't know anything except for, you know, I notice the same people going to the coffee shop or the same people that live down the street walking their dog. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What's going on in the news?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I want to get into all the particular stories, but I will say this. The thing, you know, remember, I'm a sociologist, so I like studying what's sort of happening at the macro level. And something that's fascinating me right now is there's been a fundamental shift with a significant part of the population, meaning that in March, April, May of last year, everybody was defaulting to the experts. You know, it's like the experts were saying this. And so because we were all ignorant and didn't really know the lay of the land and any of the facts and what's going on, we sort of all, you know, did what we were told to do, like little, you know, little pets, you know.
Right.
But I've noticed over the course of time, and I think this is just healthy and human nature, that people are taking their lives back. And, you know, the authorities are losing their authority.
Oh.
Their influence.
Do you think so?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're seeing it over and over again. People just, you know, whether it's people not wanting to get a shot or people being told to not get together. I think people are just doing it. They're done. They're done being told, you know, this, that, and everything else. Because I mean, I go around Kansas City. You would never know that last year even happened. I mean, people are just. I mean, maybe if I go into Walgreens, I'll see some older people wearing a mask. But by and large, people are just doing what they want to do. They're just tired of being herded, right? And part of the reason I believe that's the case is, again, something I posted, is that the authorities, the people that have been telling us what to do, have treated us as though a human is only a body.
Right.
Right? In other words, all the decisions have been based on keeping bodies alive. What none of the decisions have taken into effect or taken into consideration is that we're a soul and a spirit as well.
Okay.
That we need our souls and our spirits taken care of as much as our bodies. And so I think people have sort of gotten to a point where it's like, I'm done. You know, I'm done isolating. I'm done being alone. I'm done. And people are gathering. I mean, I don't know if you know, my team. So the big news for me is I'm a cheesehead from Milwaukee, and my basketball team won the world championship on Tuesday night, right?
Great.
If you watched the game, they had 60,000 people crammed into there. Like the arena only holds like 20,000. They had 40,000 people, no masks, all crowded together in the street. Like everybody's like, screw this.
Wow.
Right? So based on everything that people have telling you, that's a disaster. Like all these people are going to die now, right? Because 60,000 people were all standing with no masks right next to each other out in the street. So we should basically see now within the next month, thousands of people in Milwaukee suddenly are all going to be deathly ill. Right? So I saw the statistic today. This is how bad it is. The police now are trusted more than the media.
What?
Yes. They just did a poll, came out, and the police have a higher trust rating than the media. That's how bad things have tanked for the media.
Well, that's because
again, the voices, right? People aren't listening anymore.
It's because we're tired of the narrative, right?
Right. So people are being, again, tired of being told how to think, what to do.
Well, I went to dinner yesterday with a friend, and we went to the local pizza place, and outside the whole place was filled with people. And we finally asked the lady that was talking and whatever, and we said, what's going on? And she goes, oh, I quit my job on Monday. And we were like, oh, so the party's for you. And she's like, yeah. She goes, and I said, well, what do you do? She goes, I'm a prosecutor in the legal system. And she said, and I decided from last year to now that I didn't want to do this anymore. I want to do what I want to do. She's going to start a food truck.
Right. No, this is interesting. You're talking about this.
Prosecutors with her,
right,
are doing a food truck.
So I posted an article, maybe it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, about this, because what they're realizing is that people have sort of had this epiphany over the last year, right? And so one of the things that they're worried about is people don't want to come back to these big corporate jobs and be a cog in a machine anymore.
Right. And that's what she was like, I quit my job on Monday. And I was like,
Yeah.
and they had this big party for you on Wednesday? And she was like, yeah. She goes,
It's crazy.
She goes, because my other friends are doing it. And I
Right.
said, a food truck, really? I said, that's funny. A friend of mine's doing a food truck. My sister and I talked about doing a food truck. She's like, oh, I love baking, so I'm going to do baking. And I mean, I'm just like,
she's pursuing her passion, right?
She went to law school as she's a prosecutor. Like,
I know.
Is just like throwing her whole thing out because she's like in her later 40s. She wasn't like older, she wasn't like,
but there's millions of people right now doing the same thing. That's one of the things that happened with COVID.
That's why I can't get to Florida, because they're all moving to Florida. Would y'all stop moving to Florida so I could at least get a place?
Right. It's really fast. Yeah, Texas and Florida right now. I mean, everybody's hemorrhaging California and New York. Everybody going to Texas and Florida.
New Yorker and New Jersey's are going. Philadelphia, all them are going to Florida, and then Arizona is getting overrun. Arizona, Montana, Utah are all getting overrun from the Californians.
Yeah,
it's nuts. It is.
Well, I had some friends in the Frisco area moved to Idaho, and they're just like, "Oh my God, why didn't we learn about this 30 years ago? This is unbelievable. Like, it's gorgeous here, and all this. Like people are having these moments, like, why didn't we know about this? We were stuck in this bubble."
So I want to know, there's been 5 consistent people watching. I want to know, you 5 who've been consistent, what are you doing different from last year to now? What is it? What has changed your mind on how you're going to go forward in your life? I'm curious. I want to know. Put it in the comments, please, because I would love to know. Because it can't be all about me and Bob. It's about you guys too. So, but no, the prosecutor thing blew my mind. I was like,
So here's a controversy, because you love controversy.
I do.
So here's something to throw some meat to the sharks.
Oh no.
Now, I have told people this. I think that Dr. Fauci and these people that are way at the top of the medical decision making are in for some serious problems, and here's why. Because it has now been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that we had lots of, at least 2 or 3, I shouldn't say lots, 2 or 3 over-the-counter medicines, right, that are currently being used to save people's lives. Those medicines were forbidden to be used. They were told, all the medical people were told, don't use ivermectin, don't use hydrochloroquine, right? There's all these things. And now we're learning, because a lot of these poor countries that can't get the vaccine have ivermectin readily available, because it's an antibiotic that you use with cattle. So it's like, it's there in enormous quantities. I have dozens of friends in Zimbabwe that got sick. All of them cured on ivermectin. So, but this was forbidden, right? This was forbidden in the United States. The whole medical community was told by these guys, do not use this, right?
Right.
So they got blood on their hands because millions of people died that didn't need to, right? Why?
Right.
So that's my red meat to the sharks. There's a backlash coming.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe.
No, it's going to come. It always does. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah. Well, Lance actually answered my question, which I appreciate you, Lance. Lance, finally getting my YouTube channels going. Awesome.
There you go.
Get it done. Hey, Jody, how you doing? So, yeah. So, yeah.
So that's what I think in terms of news stories. I'm thinking, to me, it could be the news story of the decade, where millions of people didn't need to die.
Who's going to cover that?
Oh, it's coming. It's slowly starting to, you see what I mean?
Is the tide turning? I mean,
yes.
I haven't watched news, so I don't know.
Well, again, it's just a matter of time for information. Now, there's all kinds. I mean, doctors have been doing this for a year now. There's clinical trial. It's not somebody just pulling stuff off the top of their head. We have scientific medical data, lots of it, that contradicts everything that these guys said over a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. The dilemma you've got is you still have a few people controlling the many in terms of the media, right? So, and everybody's scared because they don't want to lose their jobs, right. But there's more and more information coming out. I mean, even where this whole thing originated a year ago, you got booted off of Facebook or Twitter if you suggested the fact that it came from a lab, right? Now you even have the U.S. government doing a 180. So you see what I mean? It just takes a matter of time, and then these things get momentum. Like, well, there's enough people looking at the facts going, hey, wait a minute here. And so it'll pick up. Really? Just watch and see.
I watched a doctor not too long ago. It wasn't part of the frontline doctors. It's a whole different guy, different area, everything. And he was like, why is there no preventatives here? Why are we not doing preventative medicine like we do for everything else?
Right.
Why in the world are we not doing preventative? So, Amy, I'd like to congratulate you on the healing of your fears. That is awesome. Because I follow Amy. She's one of my Facebook friends, and
there you go.
Been out there doing all kinds of new things, which is awesome. So, okay, so let's see. The whole thing is nothing but population control and redistribution of wealth. Now, see, I wonder, Jody, because I met you last year. Would you have said that last year? Curious, because I don't know if you would have. Not positive, but you might have. I'm not sure.
Again, people are sort of going, hey, wait a minute. What's said
what's really happening?
Yeah.
That's my thing is it's like, okay, yes, you would have. Okay. I didn't know. I don't see that's the thing is like, I'm controversial on here, but if I meet you in person, we're not going to talk about the same things because that's just not something I'm going to bring up in a personal conversation,
But you asked about news stories, so that's what I'm bringing it up.
No, I like it. I mean, from the get-go, from the beginning, have been like, I have not been in fear of it. I did get it myself, so I survived. So I feel like I kind of have an idea that it's that people could be okay. Possibly if they don't have the comorbidities, right? So there are some things that's happened in my personal life that made me kind of not be fearful. And so, that's fear is not my,
Well, let's put it this way. There was an interview at Congress, Fauci and what's his face? What's that guy? That one senator, Rand Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, he excoriated him. He basically said, "You're a liar."
Yeah, he did.
You are an absolute liar, and I think the Justice Department needs to look into. I mean, think about that. That would have never even been said a year and a half ago, and now we've got to.
No, there were ties to him and the vaccine back then. See, that's the thing. Is I was like, follow the. What is it people say? Follow the money. Follow the money. Where's the money? He was tied to the vaccine from the very get-go. So why nobody would ever have thought about that?
It goes deeper than that.
It does. Oh, yeah.
No. What I mean by this is he was actually involved in the research for developing the whole thing.
The whole virus, right?
Yes.
Right.
See, in other words, people don't understand is this was manufactured. This wasn't the whole story about that it just escaped. It's been proven now that this was and here's why we know. They're patented it. Like there's documents, right, that have their name on where they patented it. Like they patented this disease, this thing that they discovered, and they've been experimenting on it for 15 years. So it's interesting.
And also, Microsoft has a patent that goes along with it and the vaccine. So why would Microsoft have a patent out there for anything medical? That's what makes no freaking sense at all.
Yeah, the whole base of COVID is actually is patented.
So this COVID also affects everyone different, so that's a variable.
Right. But I'm just saying Fauci was involved in the whole
from the very beginning.
Right. So not only did they experiment on, so I'm not saying that it didn't come from nature. What I'm saying is they modified it. They experimented with it. They were trying to pretend like they were thinking that, well, we're going to play with this thing and see if we can come up with, if this thing should ever get out in the public, do we have cures? So they actually, what's one of the crazy things is they actually patented the cure before they patented the disease, right? It's like they did it backwards, as we say. So there's some real, but it's all documented. This isn't like somebody just speculating. I mean, this is all on the record. That's why in time, this is, I've got friends right now that are investigative journalists who are digging into this stuff. And what they've discovered is a little bit, I mean, Fauci is going to be in trouble. He's not going to go down as a hero.
I don't know.
He's not going to be the hero of COVID.
Protected by somebody.
Yeah, but only while they're alive.
Yeah, he's being.
See, that's what always. I'm a historian, so what always happens is once the people that have a dog in the hunt die, the true story always comes out. That's why a lot of stuff has a 50-year. Do they have 3 names? What?
Do they have 3 names?
No, but I'm just saying that's why the government puts a 50-year. A 50-year moratorium on the information not going public because they know in 50 years you'll be dead.
So it makes you think of 2 movies, The Matrix and Conspiracy Theory.
Oh, yeah.
If you put those together, perfect. Right?
Or The Manchurian Candidate.
Ooh.
That's another one. I sometimes wonder about our current president. He's not all there, and so he sort of feels like sometimes it's like they give him a script and send him out there, and like the Manchurian Candidate.
Okay, I like the President movie, the Mr. President movie, the one where the guy died and his twin actually is the president. I would rather that movie. Can we have that one?
Right.
Because that guy was actually a nice guy.
And Lance is absolutely right. There's a lot of misinformation. The crazy thing, though, is the stuff I'm talking about. It's all documented. It's not like it's even a theory. Right. It's like I can show you the documentation.
Right. I won't bring up anything that hasn't already been discussed or is underground in the whatever.
One of my friends actually manages, interestingly enough, he's got a PhD, but that's what he does is manages this global patent.
Oh.
He's got a massive database of all the patents, not only in the United States, everywhere in the world. Like he has access to all these. I mean, he's like printed them out, it's like, here it is. That's his company,
Wow.
So it's not like it's just any secret. It's all public record. It's like you can go find it yourself.
So here's another controversial.
Since we're the aliens came and visited you last night.
since I'm single and all.
Oh.
On the dating thing, that's a big question. Are you vaccinated or not?
Yeah.
Like that's a big point of contention. Are you vaccinated or not? And they even put it in their dating profiles now. I'm vaccinated. If you're not, don't even bother. So I'm like, whoa, this has gone to a whole different level.
Well, remember what I talked about in my book, which is that since the beginning of time, it's never changed. The few have always tried to control the many. And the way they do it is through technology. Whoever has the access technology dominates everyone else.
Yep.
And so as I talked about in the book, that we were coming into a time where more and more our lives are going to be controlled because we live in the information age. So everything's out there. So what COVID is an excuse to do all the things they've always wanted to do. So now we're getting to a point now where we're never going to even be able to leave our country unless we have a vaccination passport.
Yeah.
Which I talked about in my book. Remember Gattaca, which was, where they talked about the future where our lives were going to be based on our DNA. They're going to read our DNA, and based on your DNA, you got certain jobs and didn't get other jobs. And
a friend of mine told me that they actually can scan you to see if you've had the vaccine or not, and it turns blue if you have. That's what I heard the other day, but I don't know if it's true.
It's like peeing in the pool; it turns blue.
It turns blue. I don't know.
There's a chemical they put in the swimming pool, and if you pee in it, it turns blue.
Hey, wait a minute! I got a blue light behind me. Hold up! No. No, but I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm wondering. Do you all know? I mean, I heard that overseas they can scan you.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one, but nonetheless, again, it's the few controlling the many, right? So
there's COVID dogs too. They
can smell it.
They just 2 dogs from Florida. These guys trained them to smell COVID, so they know if you have COVID or not.
The sniffer never.
So I'm like, this is becoming so sci-fi.
Hey, I was actually saw one of those little beagle dogs where I was at the airport coming in from overseas, and this lady next to me had an enormous green duffel bag, like what you have in the military, right? Mm-hmm. And the guy asked her, "Do you have fruit in there?" "No, I don't have any fruit in there." And the beagle was like relentless, right? He wouldn't let up, and he goes, "Ma'am, I need to open your duffel bag," right? So he had to dig down 3 feet through this duffel bag, and there at the bottom was an apple. And she was like horrified. She didn't even know it was in there.
Right. I did the same thing happened to me in Scotland. And it was because they gave it to me on the airplane and I forgot about it, right? So they give you the stupid fruit on the airplane, right? And you don't eat it and you just put it to the side. You don't even think about it. And same exact thing happened. And the dog comes over sniffing and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And they're like, "Do you have fruit?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "You certainly do." And they open up a bag and there's the freaking apple. Same thing.
Busted.
I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm trying to
smuggle in fruit." Unbelievable.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I got in trouble for that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but the people on the plane gave it to me. Why wouldn't it be okay if they gave it to me? I still had to throw it away.
As long as it stays on the plane, it's okay. But to bring it into the country, what they're fearful of is you're bringing in diseases.
Okay, if I ate the apple, the disease would be in me, and then I could spread it.
Okay. Just don't poop around any trees.
I'm just saying. That makes no sense at all. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, some things.
What if I had a little apple seed in my tooth?
Oh my gosh.
And it went out. I mean,
we've lost control of the evening.
Hey, we're just punchy talking now.
Okay.
So anyway,
that's because I haven't eaten dinner, so I'm about ready to I'm about to eat my microphone. That's how hungry I am.
Well, we won't go much longer, but I appreciate whoever the consistent 4 to 5 that have been on tonight. Our regulars are not on, like Heather and Michael and.
Well, it is summertime. I know Mike's in a meeting, so
Larry
Heather's probably watching a baseball game that her daughter's playing, and
Lance, we appreciate you. Jody, you, Amy, we appreciate you. She's a regular too. So we appreciate you guys listening to our bantering. But I won't keep you much longer though, Bob, because we only have 8 more.
That's right, because you've never seen me eat a microphone, but you might.
Desma? Yes, we were talking controversial. She could talk controversial with us.
Okay. Sure. Well, she missed it.
She did.
You'll have to go back and yell at the screen if you re-listen to this.
No, she knows all of that.
Okay.
She knows all that.
Okay.
But this is what we have to do. We just got to stop. We have to breathe.
Well, again, as I've said to you, you need to really think about that little granddaughter, because I have discovered that my happy place is my grandkids. And here's why. They keep it simple. They don't know anything about the news. They don't know anything about anything. And when I'm there, it's about, I love you, Papa, and I love them. And it's just, we play games. We watch.
Is about what they're wanting to do with the children too.
Right. So. Well, yeah, but that's, again, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about just my place of peace, because they're so uncomplicated. They don't have any agendas. They're not trying, all they want is to sit. That's when my daughter comes downstairs. I got one on the left, one on the right, one on top of me. And she's like, kids, give Papa some room. And I'm like, no, they want connection. They just, right. They just want to be. Right. And that's why I love my grandkids, because they're just not caught up in all these controversies and, you know what I mean, these issues and the complicated relationships.
Right. But at the same time, yes, and I'm very happy about that. We got to take Olivia to the zoo for her first time the other day. Yeah. And she didn't really understand it at first, what we were doing. You know, she's kind of like, what's going on here? She sees a big gorilla and she's like, huh. And then she sees a bear and she's again like, you know, what's going on here? You know, because to me, it's like she thinks we're looking at the TV.
Right.
Sorta. It was until we got to the giraffes. We got to the giraffes and they were feeding the giraffe, and there was a big ostrich in there with them. And of course, I was naming all the animals, and it was really irritating my son, which was hilarious. Like, oh, yeah, that's, you know, Oscar the ostrich. And that's, you know, he's like, Mom, why are you telling her their names? Like, they don't have you don't know what their names are. I can call them whatever. Jack the giraffe, doesn't matter. I'm naming them. And he's like, oh, God. You know, like, he's just like flabbergasted.
We can't take you out in public anymore, Mom.
Right. I'm like, what's the problem? Well, we did find out the giraffe's name. It wasn't Oscar. I forget what his name was Jack the ostrich. And then the giraffe's name was Kiana and Ariana. And so then I was just like, oh, yeah, and there's Kiana and Ariana. My son's like, oh, God. You know, I'm like, she needs to know their names. He's like, oh, Mom.
Well, I always remind my kids, I go, just remember one thing. I'm the grandparent. I get to be as much an idiot as I want to be. I'm not apologizing. Papa gets, and they're all laughing at me going, okay, Dad. I go, exactly. You can deal with the consequences later. Right now, we're having a moment.
Exactly. But I mean, I don't know why he was so upset with me for naming the animals, because I did that when they were young. Did he not remember? I guess he didn't.
Maybe he was traumatized by it when he was young, and he was having it was all coming back. I can't believe our mom did this to us.
Like, I traumatized him by asking him to go ask the lady to get ketchup. Like, he was the type of kid that did not want to go ask for anything.
That's a millennial, though, by and large.
Huh?
That's a millennial. If you would have told him to text her, he'd have been fine with it.
I was like,
oh my God, I got to interact with a person?
He was like, oh, no, I can't ask her for ketchup. You know, exactly. My other one, my older one, he could.
See, if you would have ordered it on Amazon, he'd have been okay.
Probably.
No, people can't, right? No, I just had a conversation with Mike today about the whole, you know, millennial generation and how they just can't do anything confrontational, anything it's like, unless it's through their cell phone, right, where they have that buffer.
Okay, well, there's a girl in this apartment complex that gets an Amazon order like every day. She gets like 5 and 6 packages. Okay. I mean, every day. And a couple of them say heavy on them. And she left them out in the rain yesterday. And I heard, this is how boring my life is. I heard her come home and she looked down. She goes, oh my gosh, the boxes are wet. And I was like, well, it's because you had them delivered and you didn't take them off the front porch. I mean, you know.
Hey, you know, when I was out doing deliveries last year, I'd show up at people's houses over in different, and they like had 20 Amazon packages stacked up, and some of them had snow on them. I'm like, they've been here all night. What the heck? Anyways, I gotta roll here. I gotta go eat. I'm starting to get loopy here.
Shoot! Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry.
See, look what you've done to me.
8:28. Sorry. See, well, thank you. I've missed you. I've missed our show. So we need to do it again sooner than later.
Well, my life is a little bit crazy at the moment, but if I can get to a point where I've solved enough problems where I can get a little break in the action.
Okay.
Right now, I feel like I got my fingers in like so many things. It's just.
Well, maybe in a couple weeks. And if anybody on here wants to come on the show, let me know.
There you go.
Y'all. So,
alrighty.
If they want to be controversial too. Ooh. Yeah.
So you're going to fall back to an oldie ending, since you had an oldie beginning?
Yeah, I need to do the oldie ending. You're right. I didn't bring it up. Hold on. Yes, I will. Okay. Thank you, Bob. I missed you.
Nice to meet you.
I miss all y'all. So y'all take care now that I'm back in the South.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. I'm saying bye, but I don't know which one to click anymore.
Sandy.